With the promise of the Transcontinental Railway, British Columbia became the sixth province in Canada, and Macdonald promised, at the time of Confederation, that the Canadian Pacific Railway would be built. The Transcontinental Railway, or the Canadian Pacific Railway, also known as the CPR, was intended to join British Columbia with the rest of Canada. The CPR was formed in 1881. Building the railway was very costly. The company needed money, and the government gave the Canadian Pacific Railway $25 million and 10 million hectares of land. To make more money to build the railway, the company was allowed to sell this land to settlers. In 1881, the Canadian Pacific Railway hired William Van Horn as general manager, which you can see in the below cartoon. Building the railway began on the prairies. The men were able to work quickly from Lake Superior to Winnipeg because the land was not very rugged. Then, Van Horn had to plan how to build a railway through the Canadian Shield. This region was made up of hard granite rock and soft, marshy muskeg. Dynamite was used to break up the rock so that a pathway could be created. Tons of gravel was added to the muskeg so that the railway tracks would not sink. It took 7 years to build this section of the railway. However, the most difficult part of the railway construction was through the Rocky Mountains. Many railway workers were killed in blasts, landslides, and falls from cliffs. This picture is famous in the CPR history because it shows Donald Smith, who was one of the major financiers for building the railway, pounding in the last spike. However, with all history, we have to ask whose voice is missing. For example, there is thousands of workers who toiled and died in the challenging and dangerous job that was required to build a railway across Canada. However, many businessmen and workers also took part in completing the railway from sea to sea. As you can see, the center focus of this photo is for the businessman, not the worker. In addition, there was also thousands of Chinese workers who participated, and some lost their lives in building the railway. Chinese workers came from China hoping to make money for their families. By 1885, there were 15,000 Chinese rail workers. They were paid $1 a day. This was less than what was paid to other railway workers of other races. The Chinese were responsible for paying for their own tools, food, shelter, and clothes. They did not get paid during the winter months when the work stopped. Working on the railway was difficult and dangerous. They faced explosions, rock slides, cave-ins, and disease. More than 600 Chinese workers died while building the British Columbia section of the railway. However, you don't see them in this photo.